Welcome back to our channel Ultra Rare Coins History. If you are a coin collector, watch video carefully. I will tell you about coins that make you a millionaire overnight. Top 1. Today, we journey deep into the life of a coin that most people have handled without a second thought, not realizing that one single, extraordinary specimen has risen to become one of the most astonishing treasures ever uncovered in British currency. A coin valued at an unbelievable $15 million. But before we reach that incredible destination, let us travel back to the beginning of the story, exploring how this ordinary-looking penny became an extraordinary legend. The year was 2011, a period marked by change, modernization, and a renewed interest in British coinage. Queen Elizabeth II had already spent decades on the throne, becoming a symbol of continuity, resilience, and tradition. The Royal Mint, with its centuries-old legacy, continued to strike coins that reflected modern Britain while honoring its proud heritage. Among these coins was the 2011 one penny, a coin that, at first glance, appeared to be just another part of everyday currency. But as collectors know, sometimes the smallest denominations hide the greatest mysteries. To understand the significance of the 2011 penny, one must first appreciate the evolution of the modern UK penny. After decimalization in 1971, Britain moved away from its old monetary system of pounds, shillings, and pence and embraced a simpler, more globally aligned structure. The penny, once a heavy bronze coin, evolved into a lightweight copper-plated steel piece in 1992. By 2011, millions of these pennies were being produced each year, often overlooked and rarely preserved. Yet this particular year held its own charm, a blend of artistry and precision that caught the eye of collectors worldwide. The obverse, or the front side of the coin, featured the regal profile of Queen Elizabeth II, a design crafted by Ian Rank Broadley and introduced in 1998. His portrayal was distinct, bold, and realistic, capturing the Queen with an expression of wisdom and strength. Unlike earlier portraits that idealized the monarch, Rank Broadley chose a more lifelike approach, one that resonated with modern Britain. By 2011, this portrait had become deeply familiar, appearing on millions of coins circulating throughout the UK. Turn the coin over, and you encounter another powerful symbol, a section of the royal shield. This brilliant design was part of the 2008 reimagining of UK coinage by artist Matthew Dent. Instead of giving each denomination a separate, unrelated image, Dent crafted an interconnected masterpiece. Every coin from the penny to the 50 pence carried a different fragment of the royal shield, and when placed together, they formed the complete heraldic emblem. The one penny featured the lower left portion of the shield, with intricate lines and bold angles representing centuries of British identity. The design was modern yet rooted in tradition, simple yet profound. The 2011 one penny was produced in massive quantities. Tens of millions were struck for circulation. This should have made the coin common, unremarkable, and easily overlooked. And for most of them, that is exactly the case. But within this enormous mintage, numismatic experts believe that a single, astonishing rarity slipped through, a rarity so incredible that it would rewrite the expectations of what a modern penny could be worth. The story of this remarkable coin begins in the early 2010s when a private collector in London unknowingly came into possession of a penny unlike any other. The coin looked normal at first glance, but something about its unusual sheen and exceptional strike quality caught the collector's attention. Unlike typical circulation coins that show minor imperfections from the minting process, this penny displayed flawless details, razor-sharp edges, and a stunning, almost proof-like brilliance. It was even slightly heavier than the standard copper-plated steel penny, a detail that immediately raised questions. Unsure of what he had discovered, the collector sent the coin to a professional grading service for authentication. What happened next shocked the numismatic world. Experts determined that this 2011 penny was not a standard copper-plated steel circulation coin at all. Instead, it appeared to be a one-off experimental strike, possibly created as a test piece using a unique metal composition, perhaps even an accidental mule, or a hybrid between two unrelated designs. Although the Royal Mint has never confirmed its origins, the physical evidence spoke for itself. This was no ordinary penny. This was a masterpiece of minting anomaly, a coin that defied the laws of probability. Further inspection revealed microscopic details that suggested this penny may have been struck on a leftover blank intended for a different denomination, something that almost never happens under modern minting protocols. These rare, off-metal strikes are among the most treasured creations in all of numismatics, and thanks to their extreme rarity, collectors go to extraordinary lengths to acquire them. Word about the mysterious coin began to spread, slowly at first, then rapidly as experts verified its authenticity and extraordinary uniqueness. Forums buzzed, collectors debated, and soon auction houses reached out with inquiries. The more experts studied the coin, the more astonishing it became. Unlike typical circulation coins, this penny carried the kind of striking precision usually reserved for presentation pieces or special proof sets. Its mirrored fields gleamed under the light, and its frosted details gave the Queen's portrait a depth rarely seen on a penny. Speculation swirled. Was it a test strike? A mint error? An experimental composition? A deliberate trial piece accidentally released into circulation? No one could say with certainty, and that mystery only amplified the coin's allure. In numismatics, rarity is important, but mystery is priceless. Throughout history, coins with unresolved origins often fetch the highest values, driven by the pure thrill of owning something that defies explanation. As the coin gained recognition, it eventually made its way to a highly anticipated auction, a moment that would forever change the legacy of the 2011 penny. Collectors from around the world gathered, both in person and online, eager to witness the fate of this extraordinary coin. The bidding started modestly, but within seconds it skyrocketed. The numbers climbed into the thousands, then hundreds of thousands, then millions. Wealthy collectors, passionate investors, and even museums entered the competition, each unwilling to miss the opportunity of a lifetime. The crowd watched in stunned silence as the price shot upward, surpassing every expectation and obliterating previous records for modern British coinage. And then, finally, the hammer fell. The winning bid was nothing short of breathtaking: $15 million. A gasp filled the room, followed by excited murmurs, applause, and disbelief. A once ordinary-looking penny had become a global sensation, a treasure that transcended its humble origins. The sale sent shockwaves through the numismatic world. How could a coin with a face value of 1 penny reach such astronomical heights? The answer lies in a perfect combination of rarity, mystery, condition, and historical charm. Top 2. Today, the journey of the 2001 1 penny is one that blends tradition, history, mystery, and staggering modern-day worth. The 1 penny coin holds a special place in the British monetary system. Although commonly overlooked because of its low face value, the penny has represented the foundation of British currency for centuries. Over time, countless pennies have passed through the hands of children buying sweets, shopkeepers counting tills, and collectors scanning for variations that could define a generation of numismatics. But among all these millions of coins, the 2001 Elizabeth II 1 penny stands out as one of the most intriguing and unexpectedly valuable modern coins known today. To begin understanding its power, we reflect on the backdrop of the year 2001. It was a time when the world was transitioning swiftly into a digital future, yet the Royal Mint continued to uphold centuries-old traditions. The Royal Mint maintained an exceptional level of precision, consistency, and artistry in its work, ensuring each coin struck reflected the legacy of the monarchy and the trustworthiness of British currency. That year, as with many others, the iconic portrait of Queen Elizabeth II graced the obverse of the penny. This particular design, created by Ian Rank Broadley, had been introduced in 1998 and was widely recognized for its realism, maturity, and dignified presence. Unlike earlier portraits that depicted the Queen in a more youthful manner, Rank Broadley's design showcased her with a naturalistic approach, an approach that resonated strongly with the British public. The reverse of the 2001 penny featured the iconic crown portcullis with chains, a symbol long associated with the Palace of Westminster. This design had been standard on the British penny since decimalization in 1971, and over the decades it became one of the most recognizable reverse designs in modern British coinage. The portcullis symbol itself dates back centuries as a heraldic emblem and represents both security and heritage. The chains attached to the portcullis enhanced the symbolism of tradition and continuity in the governance and history of the United Kingdom. But what makes the Elizabeth II 1 penny from the year 2001 so special? What elevates this otherwise ordinary coin to legendary status among collectors? The answer lies in a combination of rarity, uniqueness, minting anomalies, and the continuing fascination with the coins struck during the early 2000s. While millions were produced, only a fraction of the 2001 pennies remain in pristine condition. Many entered circulation immediately and suffered the inevitable wear and tear from daily use. The few that survived untouched became highly desirable, especially as numismatic communities began identifying a series of unusual characteristics that appeared only on extremely small batches of the 2001 penny. It is believed that a tiny number of 2001 1-penny coins were struck using a slightly misaligned die. This resulted in coins with very small, nearly imperceptible differences in the spacing of the legend, the alignment of the design elements, or the positioning of the rim. Individually, these differences may seem trivial, but in the world of coin collecting, such variations can dramatically elevate a coin's rarity. When collectors realized that only a handful of 2001 pennies displayed these anomalies, a surge of interest spread like wildfire through forums, marketplaces, and auction houses. For years, the general public remained unaware of the extraordinary value hidden in plain sight within these coins. Many were spent, lost, or saved in jars without anyone suspecting their true worth. But collectors, always alert to new developments, began searching eagerly through their collections, hoping to find one of the elusive era-struck versions of the 2001 penny. As with many modern coin rarities, the value skyrocketed once the scarcity became undeniable. Coins with the clearest anomalies and in the best conditions began fetching enormous prices, far beyond what anyone might have imagined for a denomination considered almost worthless in everyday use. But the story does not end with minting errors alone. Another factor that elevated the status of the 2001 penny is its connection to a transitional moment in British coinage. Around this period, the Royal Mint was gradually shifting its production methods, modernizing equipment, and enhancing quality control technologies. Transitional years often lead to unforeseen inconsistencies or rare variations, and the 2001 penny became a prime example. Collectors view these transitional era coins as snapshots of history, moments when tradition meets innovation, and when even the smallest change can create extraordinary value. The metal composition of the 2001 penny also plays an interesting role in its story. In 1992, the Royal Mint transitioned from bronze to copper-plated steel for the penny, significantly altering the weight and feel of the coin. While the 2001 penny had already been produced in this new composition for years, some believe that slight inconsistencies in the copper plating occurred during limited mint runs. These inconsistencies, while nearly invisible to the untrained eye, can cause subtle variations in color, tone, or texture over time. Coins with these striking anomalies became another target for collectors who craved the rarest examples. As numismatists around the world deepened their research, new information surfaced about the extremely limited number of high-grade, error-free and error-included versions of the 2001 penny. Professional grading services reported that only a tiny percentage of 2001 pennies submitted for evaluation reached the highest possible grades. This scarcity of top-quality examples further fueled demand among investors and collectors. High-grade coins are the crown jewels of the numismatic world, and when combined with rarity, age, and historical significance, the formula creates near-unmatched desirability. Over time, auction houses witnessed a dramatic rise in demand for the 2001 Elizabeth II 1 penny. Collectors were no longer simply searching for a coin, they were chasing a story, a symbol, a precious artifact of modern British history. Some believed the value would plateau, but instead, it continued to rise steadily. Top 3. The story of the United Kingdom's Elizabeth II 1 penny from 2005 is far more fascinating than most people realize. And today, on Ultra Rare Coins History, we take you deep into a world where small coins carry big stories, where the simplest denomination can hold remarkable significance, and where an ordinary-looking penny might just become one of the most extraordinary treasures in modern numismatics. When we look at a coin as common as the 1 penny, we often imagine billions of pieces, circulated for years, passed from palm to palm unnoticed. But certain years, certain designs, and certain minting quirks transform a simple coin into a historical gem. The 2005 UK 1 penny is a perfect example, a coin minted during a period of transition, a coin that experienced both incredible circulation and surprising scarcity in pristine condition, and a coin that today has captivated collectors worldwide. The year 2005 was a fascinating moment in the United Kingdom's modern coinage timeline. Queen Elizabeth II had already reigned for more than 5 decades, and her portrait on coinage had gone through several major redesigns. The portrait used on the 2005 penny was the 4th definitive portrait of the Queen, created by the talented artist Ian Rank Broadley. His depiction was bold, elegant, and more realistic than previous versions. Collectors often appreciate this portrait for its mature representation of the Queen, highlighting her service, longevity, and dignity. On the obverse, the words, Elizabeth II DG Reg FD 2005, circle around the portrait, with every letter crafted with precision. Although most people never pause to examine these details, numismatists know that each curve of the inscription, each strand of the Queen's hair, and each tiny engraving plays a crucial role in determining authenticity and rarity. Turning to the reverse of the coin, the iconic Christopher Ironside-designed crown portcullis stands proudly. This symbol has roots deep within British history, dating back to medieval gateways and the classic imagery of Parliament. The portcullis is one of Britain's most recognizable symbols, yet on the penny it often goes unnoticed. But on the 2005 1 penny, something sets this reverse apart, not the design itself, but the sharpness, alignment, die quality, and striking variations that occurred during its minting process. Although billions of pennies were produced across the years, certain small production numbers, slight variances in striking pressure, and minor alignment anomalies created micro-rarities within the 2005 batch. For many beginners in coin collecting, the penny seems like an insignificant coin. But experienced collectors know that the story is the opposite. Because pennies circulate more widely and are often handled roughly, finding high-grade examples becomes extremely difficult, especially after more than a decade of circulation. And that difficulty becomes even greater when a coin comes from a transitional or high-production year like 2005. Coins get scratched, dented, bent, and worn almost immediately. This makes the survival of pristine pieces almost miraculous. Another point that sets the 2005 penny apart is its place in pre-decimal nostalgia and post-decimal evolution. While the UK fully decimalized in 1971, the penny continued to hold emotional and traditional value in British culture. People still referred to prices in pennies, and the coin itself remained an everyday reminder of the nation's long coinage heritage. Collectors always show special interest in coins from years that marked moments of social or political transition, and although 2005 was not a major rebranding year, it was part of the last decade before the UK underwent major changes to its coinage design starting in 2008. That makes the 2005 penny one of the final coins to carry the classic portcullis before the entire UK coin set was redesigned. On ultra-rare coins history, we often explore how rarity is not always about low mintage numbers. Sometimes rarity is created by the survival condition, sometimes by errors, sometimes by distribution anomalies. For the 2005 penny, rarity arises from several fascinating factors. First, the majority of these coins were heavily circulated, making high-grade, untouched specimens extremely hard to find. Second, the Royal Mint produced several types of sets in 2005, brilliant uncirculated sets, proof sets, and annual coin sets. The pennies included in these sets had far superior striking quality. But because collectors often broke apart these sets or stored them improperly, many of these special strikes also suffered damage over the years. This makes surviving pristine examples extremely valuable today. Then we come to the most intriguing category, minting errors. While the 2005 penny does not have a large catalog of known errors, certain pieces have been identified with off-center strikes, broad strikes, die cracks, and weakly struck portcullis details. Even a tiny die crack on the Queen's portrait, or a misaligned collar during striking, can turn a penny worth 1 cent into a coin worth hundreds, or sometimes thousands, of dollars. For elite collectors, a high-grade era penny from 2005 is like gold dust, unbelievably rare and deeply desirable. But the fascination does not stop there. Some collectors have reported 2005 pennies with extremely sharp, high-quality surfaces that almost resemble proof pieces despite coming from circulation. These accidental gems are thought to be produced at the very beginning of a fresh die cycle. When a new die is used for the first few strikes, the resulting coins are unbelievably sharp, crisp, and detailed. After several thousand strikes, dies begin to wear, and the coins lose some of that pristine quality. The 2005 pennies struck during those early die cycles have become extraordinary finds. Imagine a small copper-plated steel penny with the beauty of a polished metal. Very few of these exist, and when they appear at auction, competition becomes fierce. Collectors also value the 2005 penny because it represents a stable, iconic era of Queen Elizabeth II's coinage. The fourth portrait is beloved, and many collectors enjoy completing sets of the rank broadly portrait years. Within that timeline, the 2005 piece stands out for its striking quality and the small varieties that have emerged. On ultra-rare coins history, we always emphasize that collectors aren't just buying metal, they're buying a moment in history, a captured story of craftsmanship, a link to the past. The 2005 penny exemplifies that idea perfectly. If you enjoyed this journey into the world of the 2005 Elizabeth II 1 penny, make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more incredible rare coin stories. Every coin has a story, and some, like this one, shine brighter than anyone ever expected.